Welcome to In a Nutshell, the podcast dedicated to all things agricultural consulting. I'm Dylan Brush here with soil genius and ag consultant Bill Brush, and we're delighted to accompany you on this journey where we break down the different aspects of agricultural consulting. In each episode, we'll dive into the realm of agriculture through the eyes of Bill Brush, where consultants like Bill play a vital role in empowering farmers, agribusiness, and agricultural organizations. If you're passionate about agriculture, problem solving, and enjoy a little bit of detective work, this podcast is tailor-made for you.
Hi, this is Bill Brush, and welcome back to In a Nutshell. In today's podcast, I'm going to talk about some recent things, places I went, and with other consultants, and let you know. I've got several ideas on this particular after having went to this conference and coming back and doing a lot of thinking about how things went and what I learned and what's in the future. So let's get started. Mid-January, I went down to a meeting and conference, class, call it whatever you want, but it was a collection of advanced consultants that work with the Kinsey-Albrecht model, which is my standard that I use for fertility. And we met to, listen to and interact with my mentor, Neil Kinsey. There's about 25 of us there, and a good cross-section, people, from outside the U.S., from New Zealand, Australia. They have a really good following over there. And then across the U.S., from the East Coast to the center of the country, clear out here to the West Coast. And we had this down in Imperial Valley, down by Brawley and El Centro. A real rough part of the world and a real difficult time to farm these. You'll have the average guy will struggle down in these farm conditions. Summertime it's really hot and dry and windy, and in the wintertime it's a very nice climate for vegetables. So it became this whole Coachella Imperial Valley became really the home of the winter vegetables that you have across the U.S. It gets too cold and wet in our salad bowl over there in the Salinas Valley, where most of it you'll have from starting in spring all the way through into the fall. But wintertime it's too cold, and so there's only a few crops that grow there, and particularly the lettuces don't like that type of climate, so they're moved down here to Imperial and Coachella Valley, along with into parts of Yuma, around Yuma, Arizona. So if you're getting vegetables this time of year, that's probably where they're coming from. So enjoy them, particularly some of the ones that a couple consultants that I know down there that do a really good job with vegetable growers and really getting good, nutritious vegetables down there. So with these 25 people, one of the things, and I've had extensive hours of training with Neil Kinsey, listening to him, and one thing that's always been interesting to me when I'm there is no matter how many times I go, it reaffirms that I know what I'm doing, and what I'm doing is the right way to do soil fertility. And also, I'm still learning, so I haven't learned everything there is to know, and I never have professed to know everything. But there's always learning to take place, whether it's early on where you're just trying to grab everything you can get, to someone that's been in this business for 30 years and trying just to hang on to and learn a few more nuggets, or a better way to say something to a grower, or a better way to say something to another consultant, and just learn better ways to help farmers. But one of the things I was struck with when we were there, as I looked around the room, a lot of these consultants I've known for years, quite a few of them, and I look around the rest of the room, and there's a few younger people there, but there's not a lot. So I'm trying to think to myself, we have a tremendous program that's worked not just in California where I work, but in the Midwest where Neil works, and all of that. It works anywhere you want to go, and it's one of the things that I've always tried to. I took that early on, is if you understand soils the way that I was taught and continue to learn, it doesn't make any difference in where in the world you are. Soil is the same. It reacts the same. The only thing that changes are environment. What is your temperatures? What's your weather? Those kind of things. What kind of water source you have? Do you have water? Are you non-irrigated? Those kind of things don't change. But no matter where you go, the soil doesn't have a language. It doesn't have a currency. It has nutrients. It has clay. It has sand. And what nutrients are held on that clay particle in that soil. So we know what to store, what to change, what to add, what we have in excess, what we're extremely needy of, how can we direct the farmer to improve that in the short term and build for the long term, how to work around the budget. All of those things are the same no matter where you go in the world. The only thing we are bound to have to change is where I go, where they don't speak English. Someone's got to be there to understand what I'm saying to convey that message, and that becomes a little bit tricky. But so we're looking at some younger people. Obviously, me in my 70s, there's a lot of people that should be there that are younger, thirsty for this kind of knowledge, thirsty for what it is we teach in this class, how we interact. Some of us have been going, and it's 30, 35 years or more in some cases, of people that have been going to these classes to learn, to expand, to get better, to understand when you hit a bump in the road, how to handle that bump you may not have seen before, and then get your feet on the ground and when you're back home on the lands that you consult on, and put that into practice, so that you can then see the increases, the improvement. It could be quality, it could be volume, it could be both. It could be size, it could be color. Whatever it is you're trying to do, you can fertilize for it and have a distinct effect on it. And so go back to that same question, where are the new ones? And why aren't they looking and seeking out this particular soil system and how to put this together to be able to improve their farmers, whether them being as consultants or whether them being as large farmers or small farmers or wherever, to get better is to change. And I know most people are resistant to change, but I believe, and this is my opinion, not anybody that's told it to me, but I believe in a lot of cases that people that are in school, getting educated, learning about soils, learning about, biology, learning about plant metabolism, all kinds of things. What I talk about most of the time is not being taught there. And when they come out, they think that they've been schooled enough to be able to do that. I know in California, I look at most of the consultants I've been around that advise farmers, and their major in school was ag econ, which is great because a farmer needs economics in his life and how to put together an economical but also effective budget, and what I should be putting on and what should I not be putting on if I don't have enough money to afford things. That's an important deal, and we might have some that come out that are entomologists, etc. Very few people that I've found out in the farm world come out as soil scientists, microbiologists, the things that you need to, and true agronomists. Some will call themselves agronomists, and maybe there are degrees in agronomy, but to be the total package, which is an agronomist, a hydrologist, understanding your water and how it affects things, understanding economics, how to make a profitability statement and what we do to make you more profitable, or where we can cut in times of stress and where we can add in times of profitability. Those are what truly agronomists do. They also look back and see what kind of soil type you have and where your water comes. Do you have enough so that we can fertilize for timings of when you're going to get rainfall, or when you have a limited aeration supply and how you can squeeze that out, and how you can get your soil to allow you to squeeze that out. These are all pieces of crop consulting. I don't necessarily just call them agronomy, but agronomy is just a piece. You need to understand regulatory bodies and what you can and can't do in the field. What is the end goal? What's the yield goal? How can we attack that and improve that yield and improve our goal? Because once we've hit a number, it's not a goal anymore. It means we've hit it. We want to make that the standard, and we want to go up from there. How to get plants to handle stress. We need to be a plant pathologist. How to make sure we prevent some diseases from happening, and if we do get them, how do we handle them the most economical. In addition to that, you also need to understand what you need to do and when you need to do it. And what I mean by that is the timing. Timing becomes so important. I like to explain it like, okay, this crop needs 150 pounds of nitrogen, and the day it emerges from the ground, if it's a seed, we put 150 pounds on. Well, any farmer would tell you, I can't do that. That wouldn't work. Right. So you've learned, but have you learned the intricacies of a plant and why they need these different nutrients, whether it be nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, sulfur, calcium, magnesium, and all the micronutrients? When do they need them the most? That's when they need to be in place. When do we need if we apply a nutrient, how long before it gets to where we want it to be? In the leaves, in the growing tips, in the roots. Where do we apply it, and where does it get to? These are all very complex things. So I've had a lot of people, and I kind of insulted by it, and I think anybody that farms should be insulted by it, is we are given the term, we're dumb farmers. We farm because we can't do anything else. Like anybody can just go out and do that. I remember when my mother worked in town at federal office, and she had all those people, and they all looked down on farmers. It was like, you farm by default, because you can't do anything else. So anybody can go out there and work in the dirt and grow something, like it just happens all by itself. It's very insulting. And anybody that's listening to this that happens to be a farmer, I'm hoping you're insulted by it. Because you and I, because I farm as well as consult, know that we're the ultimate gambler. We're gambling on the success or failure of our crop. We have inputs that we put in, whether it be seed and fertilizer and everything to get our crop to maturity. And a lot of times we don't even know how much we're going to get for it. We don't know the volume and we don't know the price. But we put it out there and roll the dice every year that if we're doing things correctly and we're hitting and getting better and better, we're able to achieve yields that we didn't used to think were possible, and we need to keep doing that to maintain our profitability. If you think it's easy, it is not. You have to be in the new tech. You have to be embracing as many of those things that you can incorporate that make sense to you. I see too many people that, well, if it's tech, it's good. Well, not necessarily. If it can't return, a profit on that investment that you take to get into that, it can't be, anything that doesn't recoup its cost doesn't exist in any kind of business. And the other thing that people tend to look at, you're a farmer and you got a farm. It's a business, and we spend a lot of money in that business. We invest hundreds and thousands of dollars. And on big farms, they're investing, if you put all their farms together, millions of dollars to grow crops. It's a huge business. You better understand economics and budgeting, because the people that you have to deal with, the regulators, the bankers, the people that are making products for you, the fertilizer dealers in a lot of cases, don't know how to make a profit. They're there to sell you products, to give you an effect, whether it be a nutritional effect, whether it be a pesticidal effect that removes a pest that's going to diminish yields. It allows your soils maybe to hold on to more water and drier. There's several products. And I'm not saying that they aren't effective. What I'm saying is you need to understand, because you're in control, because you're the one that's putting your livelihood on the line by purchasing products. You've got the newest, latest and greatest, machinery that will make your life easier. And it's great to be easier, but then again, there's got to be something that returns to you in either time savings, manpower savings, better yield retention from the combine, faster and more, a better type of tillage equipment that puts soil in a more ready to plant, or works just a small area that farm, and it works, and you can do it faster and easier. And all those things are what we keep looking into the future, to not just make our life easier, but to make it more profitable. And all of those things, and so when you start to add the things that you need to do as a farmer, you understand that it's a lot. It's a tough job. And too many times I think we settle for something that we want it to be just that one little thing, like you put the key in the ignition and you start it and everything runs perfectly now. And I haven't been able to get everything started. Well, those things really don't exist unless you have everything that you've done all the work and you're missing something, and someone can actually find that you're missing that. Yeah, sometimes you do unlock that. But if you quit doing everything else you've done, that key will quickly not be as effective as it was that one time, because you had the right situation for it to work. So we have to see where it fits. I see a lot of people trying to sell products and systems and all that, and I always ask them how it works. And most of them, I'm not trained. They're not the scientists. They just tell you, here's the benefits of it. It's going to do all these things for you. And I want to know, how does it work? How does it work when it gets on the plant? Does it just stay on the outside? Does it get into the plant? Is it the roots where we need to apply it? Is the roots going to take it up and put it up and do the things that I want it to do? I need to know then, when it gets into the soil, what happens if I have an extremely alkaline soil, or if I have extremely acidic soil? How's it going to react? Is it going to get tied up? Is it going to get changed in any way because of acidity or alkalinity? I don't believe a lot of times that farmers have the time and patience to have all of the backgrounds they need. So what you need to do is learn some of the basics. What is the most important thing you have? What's your biggest asset? After yourself, the next biggest asset you have is your soil, and so we need to have our soil deliver the products, the nutrients to the plant. The guy that I studied and the guy that was brought to me when I started to listen and learn under Neil Kinsey was Dr. William Albert Albrecht from the University of Missouri. And he was there a long time ago. And I started a lot in the late 30s. And so a lot of people have told me, well, that's a long time ago. That can't be pertinent today. Soils worked before we started. Those soils worked year in, year out. They look at way back in the 1800s when buffaloes roamed the middle of this continent, and there were always grasses that came up and supplied those buffaloes in massive herds. Okay, but what really changed things is the demand of yield, and it's getting those soils back to where they are yielding in a fashion that mineralizes and gets those nutrients back to the crop. We've worked a long time doing things to get better, and it's always been yield-based. Dr. Albrecht, one of his favorite sayings that I love is, feed the soil, and the soil will feed the plant. I know most farmers, when they're going out, they think they're feeding the plant, but they're really feeding the soil first. Another thing that Dr. Albrecht said that I loved was that the microbes in your soil, your plant and your biology of your soil, microbiology of the soil, eat first. So a lot of people put on products like commercial nitrogen or phosphorus, and other people say, well, that's not the way you do it. You put on organics, or you put on compost, you put on that, and that's going to yield it a lot better. Either way, commercial or organic or compost or whatever you're putting in terms of the organic matter or carbon material or nutrients held within that carbon material, all go through the microbes before they get into the plant. So a lot of people think the microbes do not look out there and says, oh, these are this way, I'll eat them first and then I'll go there. Or the plant's roots go out. No, I don't want this commercial fertilizer. I'm going to go over and get this organic or composted nutrients over here. Microbes need them all for their health and well-being. And there are a lot of reasons to be organic. There's a lot of reasons to use compost and light sandy soils. It's almost a must to get top yields. A lot of things are there, but we see too many people that take a one-sided approach. This is all you need to do. That is not the guy you want to listen to. When he says, this is all you need to do, and I always like to say, if that was all I needed to do to be successful, I would have already done it. I've seen it. I've seen it be successful. I see where it's been successful. It gets back to my how does it work theory. I think it's really important that you hone in on that particular term. How does it work? You're spending your hard-earned money from your previous crops to invest in your latest crop, and you need to know how it works. What's it do for me? Why should I use this rather than this? The question sometimes people want it to be easy. I understand that. You got a lot to do. You've got a banker to deal with. You've got maybe your landlord or just all these people that are knocking on your door every day. The equipment salesman trying to sell you something. And you look at, oh, gosh, the parts are astronomically high. Oh, look at the price of fuel. It goes on and on and on. So the last thing you want to do is go in and have to get more educated. But I'd like to tell you that the soil is your biggest asset. And why are you not taking care of your biggest asset? It's what returns your profitability and your livelihood every single year. It comes from the soil to grow the crop, for you to harvest it, to work back in the material that's left, the fodder, the leaves, whatever it is you have that did not get harvested goes back into that, gets mineralized, and decomposes in that soil, because that soil's alive. We run into a problem when we do so many things bad that we don't get enough air into it, and we have a dead soil, and nothing seems to work. But how do you get a soil alive? All these answers are out there, and we work on them for a very small number of people that were in a conference that was very, very valuable to anybody that would have been there. But primarily, we're getting to the advanced stages. And a lot of us, quite honestly, are getting old. And as we get old, we may not retain, and our memories may be a little foggy. So now's the time to get in, when some of us are still able to and want to teach. As you know, this podcast goes over a lot of different aspects of agriculture, and I hope you're getting something out of it. But I can't make it better if I don't get some feedback. If you've got a question and you're not giving it to me, how do I ever know I need to answer that? So questions become very important. If you just leave a question that says, I'd like to leave questions, but your format isn't good enough. It's too hard to leave questions. Whatever it is, you want to check the box. Maybe we can do that. Need more information on this. This was good, this was bad. Whatever it is, I don't need to keep going on. If the majority of people think a program's not valuable, then let's go on to something that will be. I'm here to improve, deliver what I've learned over the last 60 plus years of being in agriculture, and the last 30 to 35 being out there in the soil consulting and helping farmers and growers all over the world. It's been my distinct pleasure and honor to do that. We feed the world and we clothe the world. So between those two things, we ought to know that we ought to be more well-respected, and we can do that if we can become more profitable and be a better voice for agriculture. So hopefully, if not necessarily to inspire you, but to look at what you currently do and see what can I do better. Is there somebody out there that can help me? There's somebody in your area that might be very, very good at what he does. He's just not well known yet. But just look for them. They're there. But we need to continue to develop them. And not just here in California, across the U.S., around the world, because we need farmers can be found in every little open patch of ground somewhere trying to make something grow. And that's what we are. So until next time, stay curious.
Thanks for another absolutely amazing episode of Agriculture in a Nutshell, Bill. I'm sure that everyone listening surely enjoyed hearing what you had to say about how important it is to always value learning something new and expanding upon your knowledge. For everyone listening, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and always stay curious.